My name is Mia. I was 33 years old. I looked at my reflection in the train window. I could barely see myself. My brown hair was messy. There were dark circles under my eyes. I looked tired. I used to smile a lot, but now my face was sad. I didn't smile anymore. I had one old suitcase. It was the only thing I owned. I had been married for 9 years. I thought my marriage was safe. I held the suitcase handle. It wasn't heavy, but my heart felt heavy. It felt like the sky was pressing down on me. My husband made me feel small. He told me what to do. He took away my strength. He made me feel worthless. I heard a voice at the station. Train 307 is arriving at platform 3. I didn't need to hear the name of the place. I already knew where I was going. The train was heading to a small town where I was born. My mother, Clara, still lived there. She lived in a wooden house. I remembered Leo's last words. He was the man I once thought meant everything. He said, "Mia, you're not strong. You can't do things on your own. You chase silly dreams. So I have to make all the decisions for you." His voice was calm. To others, it might have sounded like care, but to me, his words felt like invisible chains. They made me feel weak and stuck. I often held back my tears. I hid my anger. I told myself, let it go, for the family. But that day when he said those words again, something changed. Maybe something inside me broke. Or maybe it was finally set free. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just turned away, quiet. I walked into the bedroom and pulled out a suitcase I had packed month before. Leo didn't follow me. Maybe he thought I would come back. Maybe he believed I'd be sad for a while, then say sorry. Or maybe he just didn't care anymore. I sat on a cold bench at the station. People hurried past me. Families held hands. Couples laughed. Busy men talked on phones. Everyone looked like they had a purpose, a place to go. But me, I felt empty, like a blank notebook with no words. I thought about that image and felt a mix of anger and sadness. How long had it been since I last wrote? 5 years? 6? Leo always said writing was silly, a waste of time. And little by little, the words inside me faded away. I placed my hand on my chest. My heart was beating fast. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't even know what I was looking for. But I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't stay there a moment longer. The train began to slow down. The loud sound of metal hurt my ears. I stood up and held my suitcase handle tightly. This time I didn't look back. "You'll be okay, Mia," I whispered to myself. I held on to a small hope that after this train I would become a different Mia. The Mia I used to love, the Mia I was proud of, before the sad words changed me. I pulled my suitcase closer and sat back down on the bench. It was cold and wet. Suddenly, a cold wind blew. I shivered. I bent down to pick up a sandwich wrapper that had fallen from my hand. Then a man's voice spoke behind me. It was soft and kind. "Let me help you," he said. I turned around. A man stood in front of me. He looked about my age. His brown hair was a little curly and fell across his forehead. His thin glasses caught the station lights. His eyes made me feel soft inside, like a song I knew but couldn't name. "Thank you," I said quietly, "but it's not needed." My voice sounded strange, even to me. For years, Leo had made fun of me. He said I spoke too loudly and laughed too much. So I had learned to speak softer and hide my feelings. The man bent down, picked up the paper, and dropped it into the trash can. Then he turned back to me with a kind smile. It was such a warm smile. It made me feel a little strange. "Mia, right? Mia Green?" he asked. My eyes widened. How did he know my name? I paused, then nodded slowly. I looked at his face more closely. He did look familiar. "I'm Adam. Adam Cooper," he said. "We went to school together in Maplewood. Do you remember?" That name was like a key. It opened a door in my memory. Adam Cooper. He was the quiet, thin boy with big glasses. He always held his books close and sat in the back of the class. The old picture came back to me. I remembered the narrow school hallways. The lockers were old. I saw classmates laughing as they pushed Adam and dropped his papers. I was the girl who helped him. I remembered his poems about lonely stars. "Adam, Adam Cooper," I said again, just to be sure. "Of course I remember. You wrote poems." Adam's eyes softened. "And you wrote the best stories," he said. "Your notebooks had flowers and birds. You drew lines around the pages." His words made my chest ache. How long had it been since I wrote for myself? I looked away so he wouldn't see my face. "That was a long time ago," I said. "Not so long," Adam replied gently. He reached into his coat and pulled out an old yellow pencil. The tip was dull. I stared. Faded words on the side read, "The best stories begin with courage." "You kept it?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Yeah," he said. "You gave it to me that day in the hallway after they tore my poem. You didn't just help me. You gave me this pencil. You said it would give me courage to keep writing. And you were right." Adam opened his bag and took out a book. It had a dark blue cover. "I published my first book 10 years ago," he said. Adam handed me the book. It was his third. My hand shook as I held it. Inside it said, "For Mia, who gave me the pencil that started every story." I looked at him. His face was gentle. He made me feel seen. My train arrived. I looked at the book, then at the pencil in his hand. Something in me woke up. He held it out. It's time to return to its owner. I smiled, tears in my eyes. No, Adam, keep it. It still has more stories to tell with you. The train stopped. I held his book close. Thank you for remembering me. Adam smiled. Next time, I want to read your story. The next stop was called. I touched the book Adam had given me. Then someone came closer. I'm sorry, a voice said. I forgot to give you this. I turned. It was Adam. He was on the train too, going home to visit his family. He pulled out a brown notebook. It looked plain but nice. This is a small gift, he said. I believe you should start writing again. I stared at the notebook. My heart beat fast. It felt like a new beginning. No pressure, no judgment. I took it, my fingers brushing its soft cover. It felt like an invitation. Why do you think I should write again? I asked, my voice shaky. Adam said, I read your stories in school. They inspired me. A writer like you doesn't lose her voice. It just waits. I looked at the notebook. It hurt a little. I had let go of what I loved, but Adam understood. He didn't push. He just smiled and said, if it feels right, when you are ready. The train moved on. I held the notebook. I was scared to write again. At his stop, Adam stood. This is where I get off. Take care, Mia. I smiled, a real smile. Thank you, Adam. The train stopped in my small hometown. It was night. I pulled my suitcase behind me. I saw my mother's wooden house. The porch looked the same. The door was still old. I stood on the steps. How long had it been since I truly came home? The door opened. My mother, Clara, stood there. Her silver hair was soft, her face gentle. Mia, you're here. She hugged me tightly. Her arms began to melt the cold I'd carried for so long. I'm home, Mom, I whispered. My voice shook. Tears fell. She led me inside. The old armchair, the rug, the clock, everything was just the same. It felt like the house had been waiting for me. I ate warm soup. Then my mother pointed to my old room. Get some rest. Tomorrow we'll go to the market. I walked into the room. Moonlight filled the space. I took out the notebook Adam gave me. My hands reached for a pen. I turned on the lamp, opened the notebook, and picked up the pen. Words came out. Today I came home with a suitcase and a scarred heart. I left to find myself. In this room I write, hoping the words will guide me. That first line opened my heart. Memories, pain, and dreams poured out. I wrote about being a lonely wife, questioning my worth. I wrote about my mother, the station, Adam and his pencil. I wrote until my hand ached. The wind blew loudly outside. My heart beat like it was coming back to life. I closed the notebook. The room felt new. I slept with a light heart. Mornings in my hometown became special. I sat by the window with tea. I opened the brown notebook. I let the pen lead me. The white pages filled with words from deep inside about lost time. quiet days, and my search to find myself again. Adam kept calling. He sent me books. He said, "You'll find yourself in these." Each book gave me strength to keep writing. His calls were like little lights guiding me back to my passion. I sent my stories to magazines. The first rejection came. I felt sad, but I remembered my own words about courage. More rejections followed. My heart hurt, but I kept writing. It was my way to stay strong. Then one day the phone rang. An editor wanted to publish my story. It wasn't a big magazine, but my voice had been heard. My mother smiled. The girl who dreamed has found her pen. I kept writing. Most times I got rejections, but every piece published made me stronger. One evening, Leo called. His name flashed on my phone. "Mia, it's me," he said, sounding tired. "Come back. We can start over. You still need me." I stayed silent. I used to hope for this, but now I felt only peace. "Leo," I said calmly, "you never truly saw me. I left to find the real me. I'm not coming back." He sighed. I ended the call. My hands were steady. The stars outside felt like witnesses. In the month after, I felt lighter. I kept writing. The bad dreams stopped. I dreamed of books and quiet smiles. One autumn day, Adam called. "The university needs a writing teacher. I told them about you." "Me," I said. "I'm not a professor." "No," he said. "You're someone with real stories. That's what they need." I agreed to meet the department head. I shared my journey, rejections, and joys. It felt like sharing, not proving. They offered me an 8-week class. The class was small, 10 students, a shy teen, a mom, an old man. Each voice mattered. I loved helping them find their words. Adam supported me quietly, always near. Adam and I met after class. We walked and talked. It was love that grew slowly, built on trust. One day he gave me a brown envelope. Inside was the cover of my first book, The Suitcase. "My name is on it," I whispered. That night I held the cover. Tears fell. It wasn't just a book. It was proof that I came back to life. At the book launch, we sat in a quiet cafe. Adam gave me a box. "I know you don't want promises," he said, "but I want you to have this, to remember I'm here." Inside was a silver necklace with a clear stone. "Thank you," I said, "for always seeing me." From that night we were together, not bound by vows, but by deep understanding. I kept writing. Adam sometimes visited my class. 2 years later, our daughter, Lily, was born. Her big brown eyes and laughter healed old wounds. One autumn day, I found Lily in my study, holding the old pencil Adam had kept. It looked small in her hands. "What are you doing, Lily?" I asked. "I'm writing a story, Mama, about a princess with a magic pencil." I sat beside her and saw my younger self. Adam came in and gently placed a hand on my shoulder. "You passed your spark to her," he said. I squeezed his hand. I felt calm. I'd been through storms, but now I lived in a home filled with words, laughter, and love. Outside, golden leaves fell. I was grateful, even for the pain, because it led me here. The pencil in Lily's hand wasn't just old wood. It was proof the journey goes on, a symbol of hope, strength, and love that lasts.